So one of the biggest questions we get at Flux Defense is how to suppress the Raider. Now, some of this answer needs to be broken down into 3 different sections, and one would be just the P320 in general and some issues that has. The second would be how the Browning tilt action even works and how it's just harder to suppress the tilt action, and also just general knowledge about how to suppress a pistol. There's these 3 things, and I'm going to try to touch on each one so that we can have a better understanding at the end of this of how to get your Raider to work with a suppressor, because it's been done. We've done it several times with all of our personal cans, and I've been able to replicate this. So I would say kind of pay attention to these 3 things, and then we can get you sorted out the best way possible. So first and foremost, the SIG P320. Why do I say that it's a little quirky? Now, the SIG P320 has a very long unlock when it comes to the tilt action. And because of that long unlock, it has more issues getting the can up. And that is a bad thing for suppression. I would say maybe it's something that would be more useful for accuracy, but I don't have any data to back that up. All I know is that the SIG P320 in general is a finicky pistol to suppress, and pistols in general are very tricky to suppress because you are starting to mess with the cyclic rate of the pistol the way it has been designed. So kicking the P320 out of the way for a second, when it's in the Raider, something different happens. Now, when you're shooting a pistol, you get some rocking motion from your hand, and it will naturally do this and kind of allow that slide to get slingshot forward back into battery, and it just is something that is part of physics. It's going to happen when you're shooting a pistol. Now, when you're shooting it in a Raider, you have something different happen. The way that the pistol slide reacts is different. It comes straight back and it goes straight forward. It doesn't really have a rocking motion to it. So you're not getting help when it's in the Raider. If anything, it's robbing some of that energy. So you have to account for that. Now let's talk about the Browning tilt action, because that is going to come to play. This makes pistols hard to suppress. You are adding weight at the end of your barrel, somewhere where it doesn't want to have more weight in order to cycle. So you're going to have to do some things to alleviate that, and that would be lighter springs. I've talked about this in the last video and also in the last video that I made about suppressors on the Raider, and that is a lighter spring will allow that slide to travel backwards and forwards again to deal with the extra weight that's on the end so that the tilt action can work as it's supposed to. So lighter slides, I guess I could say lighter springs for sure. But I wouldn't go too light as you start getting into the realm of being dangerous, because things might not go all the way back into battery, and if that happens, you could have a malfunction or even a catastrophic malfunction where maybe your pistol blows up. A round is detonated not where it's supposed to be detonated. So that being the case, the Browning tilt action with suppressors is going to be more difficult. I would also say, just in tandem with the way that operating system works with the pistol, is that the suppressor also has its own little operating system with a Nielsen device or a booster. So you're going to have to keep in mind that that needs to be running smoothly. If it's too gunked up, if it gets a lot of carbon in the spring section and the piston section, it's going to lock up a little bit, and then it won't work how it's supposed to work, and you are not going to get good suppression out of your pistol, as it won't run. That being said, if you keep it clean, it shouldn't be an issue. So that's what we found with our own personal setups that are suppressed, as well as the ones in the shop. Tilt action out of the way, suppressor out of the way. Let's talk about the final thing, which is just general knowledge. It comes down to ammo type, spring weight, the type of suppressor you have, how long the suppressor is, how many baffles it has, how much it weighs, the way that they mitigate gas. everything comes into play at this moment. You're gonna have to do some testing if you already have a suppressor to figure out what ammo it likes at what spring weight it likes. This can take you down the path of blowing through a lot of rounds of 9mm and just trying to figure out what it likes, but I can kind of give a general tips and tricks about how to get closer. So if you're running with a very long suppressor, you're adding that weight, I would be looking at spring weights around 14 pounds. I wouldn't go to like an 11-pound range, because at that point on the P320, you're getting into that dangerous realm. So around 14 pounds is what I have found works on a carry size slide. Ben likes to use a subcompact slide because, again, less weight, easier for the tilt action to occur. But carry size slide, subcompact slide with a lighter spring, around 14 pounds, I've noticed works really well with 124 grain, 147 grain, and if you can break it in with a lot of rounds, it can work on 115 grain too without too many issues. Now, the reason this is such a picky thing is because that just depends on your suppressor. I am using a Silencer Co. Omega 9K, and I've got it to run great with 124 grain and 147. I've been using recently Griffin Armament Revolution 9. After a tiny little break-in period with that spring setup with a carry size slide, flawless. And I'm talking about maybe 200 to 250 rounds now through it without an issue after the first maybe mag. And so I know that's not a super large round count, but it's enough to show me that if the piston is not gunked up, it will work. So after that, I have some experience with the Mojave 9. That one I did not have sprung correctly. I had a heavier spring in there and it wasn't really running well with 115 grain. It would maybe give me 4 or 5 issues in a magazine, but knowing what I know now, if I went to 124 grain or if I went with a lighter spring, I think I wouldn't have an issue with the Mojave 9 from Dead Air as well. So we're testing a bunch of suppressors, always. And we're getting data put into our system so that we can give very good recommendations. Now, I'm gonna give, my final recommendation is to look at our website at Flux Defense, because then you'll be able to see what other people have input for their suppressors and their round count and their spring weight. I've attached a link that will take you to our website where we have a section where you can put data in if you have data about suppressing the Raider. And there's a section to view results. Now, that section to view results is growing rapidly. There's a lot of results out there right now, and I have a whole other document that I need to merge into it, which adds maybe another 40 entries from 40 different people. So we have data, it's growing, we know it works, it's just educating people. And I get it, sometimes blowing through 100 to 200 rounds to try to figure out how to get your system to run isn't doesn't give you a lot of confidence. But if you're gonna run the Raider suppressed, and there's a lot of uses when you would want it suppressed, and it's overall, other than being awesome, it is close to your face. You kind of want to figure out suppression the right way so that you can save your hearing if you ever need to use the Raider in a stressful situation, or just because you want to be a little more discreet. So that being said, I'm posting the links here. I do have that old video about the Raider being suppressed. I'll put a card for it. But that being said, that is what I have to share right now. Once I have very specific build lists, I'll put those out there. But I'll show you guys how mine run, and I'm gonna do a live fire section coming up soon so I can show you just how well it runs. So thank you for checking out the video again, or the website, the channel, the whatever. I'm going to keep you guys updated with as much as I possibly can. And thank you for watching. Bye.